So these Shamma chargers do not work well in the snow, but I'll tell you where they do work well. Hello, my name is Nick. This is the Jackalope Adventure Club, where we talk about minimal running, sandal running, do reviews and comparisons, and we'll hopefully be expanding into other content soon. If you're interested in that kind of thing, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. We'll keep growing this tiny channel. At the making of this video, we have 126 subscribers, so thank you for everyone that has hit subscribe, and we'll keep on growing this tiny channel. And Shamma did not send me these sandals. I purchased them with my own money. All opinions are my own. There will be a link in the description that is not an affiliate link, so just for your convenience, as well as a link to the playlist of all the other running sandals if you're interested in learning more or doing some comparisons for yourself to figure out which one is right for you. Starting out, we're going to do a quick overview of the sandals so we know what we're getting ourselves into. Starting out, we have a 6mm Vibram Moreflex outsole that's definitely made for the streets. On top, we have the Shamma Ultra Grip Footbed for max versatility. As for laces, we're looking at the Elite Lacing System 2.0 for Shamma sandals. All this comes together in my men's size 10 or 43 in European sizing at 107 grams per sandal, or 3.8 ounces per sandal. We also have a stack height of about 7mm total. So very lightweight, very minimal, and definitely made for an urban environment. We are going to talk about each of the components a little bit more in depth so you have a better idea of what it's like to run in the Shamma chargers. All right, so starting out with the Outsole 6mm Vibram Moreflex. If that sounds familiar to you, that's good. That means you probably watch my other videos, because that's the same outsole that's on the Panta sandals. Just like on the Panta Samos, right here, it works really well, especially in those urban environments. So pavement, concrete, that kind of thing, which is the majority of running that I do. I've been running in these about 1.5 miles a day and in West Michigan. So we've had some rainy days, some snowy days, some dry days. Dry days, no issues. I do have some pretty big inclines and declines that I've been running recently. Never felt like I wasn't secure enough in these sandals. Same on the rainy days or post-rain days when the concrete was wet. These worked really well for that. On the snow, absolutely a no-go, but don't hold that against Shamma, because that's definitely not what these are for. And if you're running in the snow in sandals, you probably shouldn't be, unless you're trying to make videos on YouTube for it. I would not recommend that. But it works really well. I do like the 6mm thickness there. I think it's very nice, especially on pavement and things like that. For me personally, I think the sandals that are thinner than that on concrete and things like that just aren't as comfortable. And for these, I felt like it was a nice sweet spot where I had good protection, I had good ground feel, which I'll touch on more when I talk about the footbed. As for the shape of the sandal, definitely a true barefoot sandal. Nice wide toe box that tapers in here. You shouldn't be falling off of these or wanting more room. I think it's pretty good there. I did take these on some natural surfaces, so part of my run had some mud on the sidewalk, or I took these over a really frozen grass area. This is super small area, like we're talking maybe 10 yards total, but consistently, at least for the muddy part on sidewalks. I felt like they did okay. These definitely wouldn't be my first choice if I was doing a lot of hiking or a lot of things on like dirt and things like that, but they will work. If you had a nice groomed dirt trail, maybe it got a little bit bumpy, a little bit rocky, I think you'd be okay. I'd probably feel comfortable on even up to like a moderate difficulty trail or something like that. As long as I didn't feel like I needed a ton of grip to go up and down inclines, I think you can be pretty safe with these. Overall, I like it. One downside I've noticed, and it doesn't seem to affect performance, and this also happened on my Samos, I just feel like you wear out a good chunk on these and it just looks like it's not holding up as good, but it is. I mean, I haven't noticed a dip in performance or anything like that, but I just wish it looked like it was holding up a little bit more. All right, that's everything about the outsole. All right, moving on here, we are going to be talking about the footbed. The chargers come in two options. There is a leather option, and then there's this ultra grip option that you see here. Shamma leather is actually super nice, and I'm a big fan of it. I do have one pair of sandals with the leather. The only reason I don't get the leather is because I'm basically fully committed to running in sandals for all my runs at this point, except for the winter, which I will be making another video on that coming soon. But it just doesn't work in a wet environment, and we do get rain out here. So it's nice to know that I can wear these when it's wet out or if it's dry out. The Ultra Grip, it's definitely tried and true. There's a little bit of a diamond texture here. Shamma logo's written on there. They're very comfortable. You definitely, or I haven't had any issues with hot spots or chafing, anything like that on here. That total, I'm going to say about 7 millimeters for thickness, because there is some thickness from the footbed, works really well. You do get good ground feel. These aren't the max best ground feel ever that I've had in a sandal, but I also don't think they need to be, especially if you're using these in a urban environment. So you're running on sidewalks, on roads, on concrete. The terrain really doesn't change that much. Odds are you're running on the same strip, or if you're in a park or something that's got a nice paved trail, all that flexibility that you can get from a sandal, you really don't need, in my opinion. So that's okay. This sandal will still be way more flexible than any shoe you've ever run in. But if you're already a seasoned sandal runner, just keep in mind that these aren't going to be the most flexible sandals that you've ever had. They do break in really nice though. Ultra Grip definitely has stood up to the test of time. Even on my other sandals that I have more miles in, I barely have any wear. You slowly make a footprint in there when you break them in, but it does take a while for that to happen. The leather will be a lot faster. Big fan of the Ultra Grip. It just works. Oh, one downside with the Ultra Grip I noticed, especially now that it's colder out here in Michigan, is when we were in like the 40s to 30s and I was still barefoot and wearing sandals, I found that this Ultra Grip, the bottom of my foot felt tender and it wasn't the most comfortable compared to summer. I think that's probably more so just because it's cold. And like I said, if it's really that cold, you shouldn't be wearing sandals, or you should look for my video about running in cold weather. So I have maybe a solution for that coming up. But just something I noticed, but definitely not a big deal. You could always wear like the toe socks or something like that to kind of get away with it and get some more miles in. And that is everything on the footbed. So next, we are going into the laces, Elite Lacing System 2.0. If you think of Shamma sandals, odds are you're probably thinking of this lacing system. It works really well. It gives you a lot of adjustability. There's also a lot of components to talk about here, so we're just gonna try and break it down to hit everything. We have a nice webbing right here. It's definitely smooth. I haven't had any issues with chafing, hot spots, or anything like that in between the toes. It lays very flat on your foot. I haven't had too much issue with fraying anywhere back here. Just a hint of fraying up front, but nothing that's gonna bother your foot. We have the Ultra Suede, which I'm a big fan of. I haven't had any issues with hot spots or anything like that. It is held up in hot or cold weather, which is really nice. Or, you know, when I'm sweating like crazy out in the summer, I haven't had an issue with that. If these do get wet, by your run the next day, they should be dry if you bring them inside. And we have a cool Shamma logo across the back. Next, we have some Velcro on the heel, and then also here on this adjustment strap. That definitely holds down really well, and I haven't had any issues with these coming undone. It also allows for quick adjustments on the fly if you need them a little tighter or a little looser. We have an instep and outstep post that help keep your sandal on and secure for lateral movements. Now that I've tried so many sandals, I can say that on the Shammas, these feel narrower compared to other sandals. I think that's because they're not looping up through the outsole and around the outside like on an Earth Runner or something. That, to me, that's not a good or a bad thing. It's just something to note. If you had a thinner heel, that would be good. If you're looking for a more secure feeling, that would be good. But it's just something to keep in mind. Bottom here, we have some plastic toe plugs for the toe plug, and then the instep and outstep. They do sit off of the sandal just a little bit, but it's not enough that you really feel it. You definitely feel this less than on like their Warrior or something like that. But this shouldn't, they stick out, but it shouldn't be enough to deter you from wearing the sandal by any means. When it comes to adjusting these, definitely take your time. Shamma has a lot of good videos. Their Instagram, Josh over there, he posts a lot of stuff too about adjusting the sandals and dialing in that fit, which is very important. And something else I want to touch on, especially because I've tried so many sandals now, I prefer a tighter lace when I'm running, just a personal preference thing. So on the Shammas, when I try and tighten these laces down, sometimes that can cause some irritation. So this top plastic buckle, you start by trying to lace these down. I try and get that flush, but if I want it more secure, you use this Velcro strap, and that'll pull this way towards the inside of your foot. The only issue with that can arise if you over tighten these is it creates tension, and then there's torque on this buckle and it starts tipping in, and that can start digging into your foot if you over tighten these. To me, the way to get around that is, one, just get used to them being a little bit looser. They're not so loose that they're going to fall off or it's going to feel like a sloppy running experience, but it just might be looser than what you have in your head for how tight a sandal should be. Definitely not anything to deter you from running these or having a good time. The other option too is you can get the additional power strap, which is an additional strap that goes across the top of your foot here for some added security. For me, I've just gotten used to them being what I'd consider a little bit looser than I'd prefer, and it's been totally fine. I haven't had any issues with that. The other thing with the power straps, while they are super helpful, especially if you're running in an urban environment, again, not much is changing in your terrain. I think it's probably overkill for what they are, but it's nice to know that they're there. This plastic buckle on the back, I definitely have no issues with that and have never really felt it. Once I set this heel strap, I'm good to go. But overall, solid laces. They will definitely work really well for you. So I do have another con with the laces that I can't remember if it was my right or left foot. One of my feet, I started to get a little bit of a blister on the inside of my heel, and it wasn't so bad that I had to stop wearing the sandals. I just went right through. The blister did go away. But I noticed on the Shammas, and this happened in my Maximus too, that when they pull the instep and outstep post through, I noticed that sometimes you get some bunching of fabric on the inside or outside here, and I think that can create a hot spot. I don't think the hot spot was specifically from the Ultra Suede. I think it's more just from a buildup of material here, kind of like on a pair of shoes. If the tongue gets bunched up and you're running in it, that can create irritation. Now, I've just been trying to poke that back in just so it's smooth without a ton of success. I could probably try and re-pull the instep or outstep post through, or I could, probably take a screwdriver or something. I've just been going I'm not going to touch it route, and hopefully wearing that out enough to the point where it's flatter on there. But it is something to note. You might get a little bit of bunching. I didn't notice it on my Warriors, which are thinner, but I did notice it on the Maximus and these here. So it's something to look for, keep in mind when you get your sandals, to maybe try and poke that back through. All right, we are going to wrap up this video here. So we're gonna go over overall pros, overall cons, who is this sandal for and would I recommend them? Starting out with the pros, the outsole is definitely made for that urban environment. So if you're a fan of Shammas and you run it a lot on roads, this is definitely solid and a good option for you. Ultra Grip is definitely tried and true, and I'm a big fan of it. Works in wet and dry conditions, as well as that outsole. I should say that with the Morphex, it works good in wet and dry conditions as well. No issues with hot spots or anything like that. Elite lacing system will definitely lock you into the sandal and provides a lot of adjustability. Also with the added Velcro, you have options for quick adjustments too if you need that as well. When it comes to cons, I do wish the outsole just looked like it wasn't wearing out as fast, even though it doesn't seem to affect performance. For the Ultra Grip, if you live and it's colder out, so if it's like 40s, 30s, this might be tender on your feet. Elite lacing system. For what you have in your mind, how tight a sandal should be, this might be on the looser end of that. Not anything so bad that you can't use them. I still enjoy them and I plan to keep wearing these, but something to keep in mind, this top buckle might dig into your foot if they're not laced properly, so just make sure you're taking your time lacing those, or try the power straps. Now, who is this sandal for? For sure, if you are a road runner that's looking to get into sandals, this is an option for you. If you're a fan of Shammas and you run a lot on roads, this is an option for you. I could see this being a good option too for working out if you needed something to like lift weights in or something like that, just because the outsole is flat compared to like their other more trail kind of focused outsoles. For sure, if you're new to running in sandals, these would be a good starting point. Or if you've been in sandals for a while and you're just burning through those trail focused sandals running on pavement, I would definitely recommend checking out something like this. And would I recommend them? Absolutely. I think these are a great road option specifically. And early on, I was trying to decide between a Shamma Warrior or a Shamma Charger. I ultimately ended up going with Warriors to begin with, but I honestly think if I had gone with Chargers, that might have been a better option, again, because I mainly run on roads. I just think I would have probably gotten more miles out of these. But that's all I have. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe if you made it to the end of this video. Let me know, have you tried the Chargers? Have you tried the Warriors? Do you have a huge collection of running sandals for roads and for trails like I'm slowly collecting? I'd love to hear about it in the comments down below. And to let you know what's coming down the pipeline, I have a pair of Totem Sandal Coyotes to try out, which are really cool. They're like a convertible running sandal. And then I also have a video about running in really cold weather, including snow, with sandals. So I was going to make that as well. So definitely stay tuned and hit that bell notification so you know when those videos come out. Thank you for being patient with me not putting videos out as fast as I'd like to. Just things got really busy with the holidays, but we are going to try and get back into it now. All right, that's all I have, and I will see you in the next one. Happy trails.